Is it better to start with a Volca or a pocket operator? Let's find out. Freebeat. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, let's get started. So today I want to talk about a question that I get asked more and more frequently. If you are new to electronic music, is it better to start off with a Korg Volca or a Teenage Engineering pocket operator? Now, these two different instruments here come in a variety of models. Right here I have the Volca keys and the Volca drum, and then over here I have the PO20 Arcade, PO24 Office, PO128 Mega Man, PO32 Tonic, PO33 KO, and PO35 Speak. And both of these are usually what I see recommended more often than not as the best way to get into electronic music. So naturally, I think a lot of people want to know, well, which one is best? And this might disappoint you because this is almost always the answer with any of these, well, is this worth it video, or, what's better? It's up to the user. It's up to whoever is purchasing, it's up to whoever is using, whoever is listening. It's, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So there's not going to be a definitive answer, but I do want to talk about some things that each of these devices do bring to the table at their respective price points and maybe help you on your journey to your own conclusion. So that being said, real quick, because there are so many different models of the Volcas and the pocket operators, I'm not going to do audio demos in this video. There are tons of different audio demos for all of these devices readily available here on YouTube. So I recommend that as part of your research, you watch as many of those videos as you can and listen to as many of those videos as you can. So first of all, let's talk about price. The cheapest pocket operators you can get start at about $50 for the PO12, 14, and 16. Now, I've stated before that the PO12 is a pretty good place to start at only $50. I would not recommend the PO14 or 16 as a good place to start because they are Generation 1 pocket operators and they're a little convoluted in their workflow. Teenage Engineering, in my opinion, didn't nail the whole workflow design until the second generation, which was the PO20 series. So the PO20 Arcade, PO24 Office, and the PO28 Robot. I have the Mega Man here, which is a little more expensive version of the Robot just because I don't own the Robot itself. But all three of those pocket operators can be had for about $60, whereas the Korg Volcas start at $150. So they are a little bit more, almost 3 times as much actually. Or you can come down to the 30 series of pocket operators, where you have the PO32 Tonic, the 33 KO, and the 35 Speak, and each of these pocket operators go for about $90 US, so kind of in the middle between these two instruments. So the first thing you're going to want to ask yourself is, what are you interested in specifically in electronic music? Are you interested in beat programming? Are you interested in designing drum sounds? Are you interested in synthesizers and getting into synthesis? I'm going to be honest, right out of the gate, there's not going to be a device at these prices that's going to do everything that you want. There just isn't a device that'll do that. So it's really important to kind of narrow down what is going to be your primary focus initially. And here is where we find our first really major deciding factor. If you are interested in designing sounds and kind of learning how synthesizers work, the Korg Volcas are going to be the way you want to go. Just hands down. The pocket operators do not get too deep into sound design, whereas something like the Volca keys, the Volca drum, the Volca FM, the Volca bass, you can get really, really lost in a lot of the sound shaping capabilities of those machines. I've been just blown away with the Volca drum. It has an almost endless amount of sound seemingly that it can generate. The Volca keys is a fantastic analog, true analog synthesizer. You can have up to 3-note polyphony, or you can just put all of those 3 oscillators into one note and really thicken it up, get a nice big fat lead or bass sound. The Volca FM, I did mention it. It is an FM synthesizer. It has incredible potential for sound design, but if you are unfamiliar with FM synthesis, I would not recommend starting out with the Volca FM because it can be very complicated. But the Volca keys, the Volca drum, or the Volca bass, depending on what kind of sounds appeal to you, are all 3 excellent starting options if you want to start playing with sound design and learning how things work. Now, on the other hand, the pocket operators are great if you want to start figuring out how to make your own small little tracks. Something like the PO20 Arcade or the PO33 KO or even the PO28 Robot or 128 Mega Man are going to let you program little drum parts and then synth parts on top of those. Now, you don't really have that much control over the sounds themselves, but they're more about sequencing those sounds in a order that winds up being pleasing for you. You know, you can actually make little tracks out of it. Like, just listen to this right here. I know I said I wasn't going to give sound examples, but check this out. This is all just coming from the PO20 Arcade. And like I said, I don't really have that much control over those sounds, but I was able to organize them into that fun little pattern, and you do get 16 available patterns on each of the pocket operators. Now, the Volcas do have sequencers built in, and you do get up to 16 patterns. However, you're typically just sequencing the one sound that you design on there, which is still fun and can lead to a lot of musical growth for you personally, especially like on the keys you get a delay effect, on the Volca drum you get the waveguide resonator, which is essentially a really complex delay effect. So there is still a lot you can do with the Volcas if you want to take that kind of miniature songwriting approach, but that is where the pocket operators shine. So if you do want to start programming beats, I highly recommend the pocket operators, and if you do want to start sampling, you only have one choice. It's the PO33 KO. And this is just an absolute steal of a device if you want to start learning how to sample and how to incorporate samples into your music and make tracks around that. You get 40 seconds of sampling time, 4 different tracks. There is so much educational content on YouTube about this pocket operator that if you have $90 to pick one up and the time to watch videos, you will be able to crank out some fantastic tracks with just this. The next big thing you'll want to look at is where do you plan to go in the future? Now, the nice thing about both of these different lines of devices is that they're all relatively inexpensive. Like I said, $150 US for the Volcas, $60 to $90 for the pocket operators. So if you do pick one of them up and then realize that, hey, electronic music's not really my thing, you're not out a ton of money, and you can almost always resell these too and get most of your investment back as long as they're still in good shape. Whoops. But if you know that you're gonna love electronic music and working with electronic music, it's important to think about the future and where you want to go. Luckily, both series of devices are great bases to start with because they integrate with other gear really, really well. Both of the Volcas have MIDI in, meaning you can play them with an external keyboard. They also have sync in and sync out, meaning they can sync tempo-wise to other devices that have sync in and out ports, which the pocket operators do as well. So each pocket operator has an input and an output. And those inputs not only pass audio through the pocket operator, they also pass a sync signal. So you could get a Volca and a pocket operator and sync those two together and really expand your sound capabilities. In fact, one of my favorite combinations of devices here is the Korg Volca keys with the PO32 Tonic. You can get some killer drum sounds from this pocket operator here, and some great key sounds from this one. You can program and sequence a bass line, sequence them up, and then you're just good to jam and start tweaking things on both devices. It's a lot of fun to play with in real time. Of course, this also means that two pocket operators together can be very powerful as well. This is one of my favorite combinations of pocket operator, the Office, which is this quirky little drum machine based on office equipment, and the Arcade, which I just played for you. These two together make some really, really unique music, and it's a lot of fun to mess with them. Now, if you do see yourself going towards this in a more professional manner, the Volcas might suit you a little bit better to get started with, rather than the pocket operator. I'm not saying that the pocket operators can't incorporate into a nicer, higher quality setup, but the sound is decidedly lo-fi from these guys. Meanwhile, the Volca drum, Volca keys, Volca FM, really any of the Volcas can integrate into a professional setup pretty easily. So in my opinion, those are the major things to consider when you are trying to decide between starting with a Volca or a pocket operator. The big one in my opinion, like we said, are you interested in sound design or are you interested in sequencing and song design? That's the major difference between these two ranges of devices. If you keep that in mind and make your decision, I'd imagine you'll be fairly happy. Also, a fair warning, because both of these series of devices are so aggressively priced, it can be very easy and very addicting to just start collecting them, so that's something that you might want to consider as well. So I do hope this video helped you out. Like always, feel free to leave any questions you might have in the comment section down below. I will get back to them as fast as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike, that's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.